Hello, my name is David Evans and I'm a solicitor of 20 years experience specialising in industrial diseases. Today I'm just going to give a brief presentation on asbestos, which is the biggest killer of workmen throughout the world, particularly in the UK, which has the highest rate of deaths through asbestos in the whole of the world. More than double the number of people die from asbestos related illnesses than through road traffic accidents within the UK. Asbestos is a naturally occurring fibre which has properties which make it ideal to be resistant to heat, electricity and to sound. It's being used extensively in modern day times, particularly in the construction industry, the shipbuilding industry, aircraft and railway building industries. Unfortunately, it's also turned out to be extremely hazardous, and as a consequence it is now banned from use within the UK. However, due to its extensive use, we are going to be around asbestos for many years to come, or asbestos is going to be around us. Any building that was built between 1950 to 1999 has a good chance of having asbestos in it. In fact, the Department of Education have just produced a report in March 2015 stating that asbestos is present in 87% of schools within the UK. Asbestos will be in most houses that we live in. It's in the shops where we go shopping, it's in the offices we work in, and it's in the hospitals that we attend. Asbestos is therefore no respecter of age, of wealth or occupation. However, discovery of asbestos in a building may cause people alarm. It's not necessarily dangerous unless it's disturbed. It is only when it becomes damaged and loose particles of asbestos are released into the atmosphere and fibres inhaled by someone that it can become dangerous. These normally only materialise after a number of years from exposure. Anything from 10 years up to about 60 years, depending on the condition. Asbestosis is the first condition. That's where asbestos fibres are breathed into the lungs over a period of many years. It's heavy exposure to asbestos that causes this, and breathing it into the lungs causes the lungs to shrink and to stiffen, and then there's a progressive shortness of breath. The second condition is pleural thickening. This is where there's been heavy exposure to asbestos over a period of many years. Asbestos fibres are inhaled and find their way into the lining of the lung, causing scarring or fibrosis. This causes the lining of the lung to swell and to thicken, and then squeezes the lung, causing pain, discomfort, leading on to shortness of breath. The third condition is lung cancer. This would have to be due to heavy exposure to asbestos dust over a period of many years. This is because the main cause of lung cancer is actually smoking. Therefore, to succeed in any claim for asbestos-related lung cancer, you'd have to be able to prove that you've been working with asbestos dust over a period of many years and there's been very heavy exposure to that dust. The final condition is mesothelioma. This is a cancerous tumour in the lining of the lung or the abdomen. This is slightly different from the other conditions in that it doesn't necessarily need prolonged exposure to asbestos, although the more exposure there is, the higher the risk of developing it. This is the condition that has become more common within schools, with teachers, nursery workers, school caretakers, and also hospitals with doctors being affected. Mesothelioma has also been contracted by family members of people who did work in asbestos factories, but then they brought the dust home with them on their clothes. Or indeed, even people who've lived in the vicinity of an asbestos factory in the past, been exposed to asbestos dust or fibres released into the atmosphere by that factory. Claims for compensation can be brought for all four of these conditions. This can be by the sufferer themselves, or if they pass on, by their dependents. The civil claims have to be brought against the employers. Now the problem is, quite often due to the period of time from exposure to asbestos to the time of developing the condition, many of these employers will cease to have existed. However, we can make checks to to find out whether these companies do still exist, or indeed who their insurers were at the time. The claims can then be brought against the companies. They can be reinstated on Companies House register, or we can go against the insurers.